Yeah, good morning. That's our very own Seaside band every Sunday morning. So grateful for their artistry. Good morning, Seaside. Thank you for joining us. Gonna try to get us kind of anchored in this morning with a song. Hope you enjoy. Who are you but the angel who brings the light of peace to all? You hold the power of love's devotion. It burns within you to heed the call. Who am I, brother and sister? The one who knows your gracious heart. I hold the power of love's devotion. It burns within me to play the part. Who are we but the children of the one God divine? We hold the power of love's devotion. It burns within us, spirit divine. Whoa, 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 whoa. We hold the power of love's devotion. It burns within us, spirit divine. We hold the power of love's devotion. It burns within us, spirit divine.
Glad you're here today. Glad you're here today. That is Rebecca Jade setting a beautiful tone. San Diego's best singer of the year. How cool is that? Voted, man, by the town. That's huge. So, well, Joy, hey, you were gigging yesterday. You were like big time. How'd it go?
It went well.
Yeah?
You know, we spent a lot of time learning a brand new system. And so it was wonderful to finally see that play, manifest itself.
Yeah.
You know, we try to hold things so we can put the people were always asking in prior ones, how do we tip? How do we give you donations and stuff? So we figured out, my guitar player John and we finally figured out how to do that.
Yes,
so
that's very important. I was like, that's good. And then your gig this afternoon is just blowing up the internet. You and Peter Sprague again.
Yeah, we're doing another one. This is actually going to be Jazz at the Merc is a venue in Temecula, and because everything's closed down, they are now sponsoring shows. So they reached out to Peter and said, "Hey, would you do one? We'll sponsor it for you, and we'd love to have you." So we're doing it at Peter's venue. Venue is hilarious to say. It's a studio. But it basically is his venue right now. And but it's being sponsored by the Merc. So it's today at 4 o'clock. It's a YouTube link, and it's on my page, and it's on Peter's page. So.
And we'll put it on our Facebook page,
Thank you very
too.
much. I appreciate that.
We got to get the word out there. And I know you always do the national anthem at least once at the stadium for the Padres. And I just want to acknowledge your Padres, for the first time in years, are in first place all alone with only 2 games into the season. But they're all alone at the top of their standings.
Hey, we'll take it whatever we can do, right?
That's it. So nice. Maybe they'll have you come sing to an empty stadium, right?
Hey, you never know.
You never know.
Anything's possible.
Let us know. That's
do.
for sure. All right. Well, it's good. So, hey, this is time that I would like us to just move a little bit deeper. And we have a wonderful practitioner at Seaside. She has been just part of the spiritual consciousness in this community for years and years. And this is Sharon Ray. Take us to that deeper place.
Okay, so I'm going to light the light here that represents the consciousness, the light that each of the practitioners here and all the ministers hold at Seaside for each one of you. And beloveds, please join me into the stillness. I rejoice, for this is the day that God hath made. I rejoice in its oneness, its perfection, its wholeness, its greatness, and its power. I rejoice, for this is the day that God hath made. And I know that I step into it boldly, confidently, for I know that anything that I need and anything that you need has already been called forward. It has already been given, for I know that it is God's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. So I rejoice, and I step forward, and I open to this, the greatness, the allness, more love, more peace, more joy. For I know there is infinite potentiality right here, right now. I step forward, and I open, and I allow. For I know that the activity that takes place right here, right now, is that greater ability to receive it, to allow it into my life. I let go of any fear, any worry, any disappointment. And I step into the light. I step into that infinite potentiality of love, of peace. And I just receive it. I open to this service today. I open to this day. I open to the beautiful, inspired words of Reverend Dr. Christian. I open to every note that is played, every melody that is sung. I open to all the goodness, for I know that life is for me and life is for you. Nothing is withheld. It is all here before us. And so I rejoice, for this is the day that God hath made.
Breathe in, let the power of love fulfill you. Breathe out, let the troubles of life be gone. Release all the worries you have for tomorrow. Look within, let's begin as one. Breathe in, let the power of love fulfill you. Breathe out, let the troubles of life be gone. Release all the worries you have for tomorrow. Look within, let's begin as one.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Max. Thank you all for being here with us today. Your presence makes a difference for sure. And just want to encourage you to let your friends and family know to join in with us right now. Let at least one other person know that this message is going out to the world because something's happening. Seaside's message is touching more individuals and family and people every Sunday than it has ever done before because people are excited to share the message, and today's message is all about love, so you can't go wrong with that. For Seaside is committed to being a thriving spiritual community, and just because we can't gather together doesn't mean we're not gathering. I wish you could feel the love that fills this sanctuary. Your presence fills every seat and beyond. It's amazing, and it encourages me to know that we are doing our mission, which is inspiring people to live their divinity. How are you doing in this time? It doesn't matter what times are going on. What matters is that we choose to live our divinity whatever era we find ourselves in, whatever quickening is going on, that I can remember that I am. That's the shape of God. It unfolds its expression right where I am. You know, the shape of water, the metaphor is the shape of love, and God is love, and that takes the shape of where I am. I become that conduit, that expression in which it expresses. And what I know is it's working because you're letting us know. You are letting us know with the letters and the emails and the cards, and I've got some here. I'd like to share them with you. And let's see, here's one from Trudy. It says, "Hi to my Seaside family. I miss seeing your bright and shining faces in person. Loved all. Hopefully our community will be open soon at a social distance. Love, Trudy." Here's one from Gordon Karen. It says, "Thanks for keeping the light so bright for the world to see." Another one from Larry. "So I appreciate your inspiration and the wonderful expression that Seaside does online every week." Another one from Patricia. "Gosh, I loved last week's movie. First time I went to see it, and I did again. You did a great job. Keep telling the stories, and love to the Seaside family." Another one from Susan. "You are my family, and I appreciate each and every one of you, even when I can't see you. Love to everyone that helps to put on the message each week for all of us, for I know it is very important and much appreciated." Gosh, and I've got them. They just keep coming in. Keep sharing them. It allows us to know that we are making a difference and we are touching you right where it matters in your heart and in your soul. And so to take us even a little bit further, because all this just leads us to this point of the elevating consciousness, is Sharon Ray back with a spiritual reading for us.
The reading that I selected today is from the book The Secrets of a Bulletproof Spirit, and it's by Azim Khamiza and Gillian Quinn. And it's the double feature, or a double feature. Whether or not you realize it consciously, you are really living two lives simultaneously. One is the material existence that is visible to the world, and the other is the inner life of your spirit, a private existence, invisible to all but you. You may not have ever thought about yourself and your life in this way before, but try to expand your sense of yourself to include both of these identities. It's almost as if there are two movies running simultaneously in adjacent theaters. Two different stories are unfolding at the same time, and they're both about you. On one screen is the course of events and the cast of characters that make up the storyline of your real life. It is a plot-driven film, lots of action. On the other screen is a story of your spirit's evolution. The film captures your inner journey. It shows how far you've come as a spiritual being. Your growth in patience, faith, and love is documented, as is every development of your spirit. Now, most people focus all of their attention on the plot-driven movie because there's so much going on, and it looks very exciting. Spiritually resilient people know that the real action is happening in the theater next door. If you want to take any hit and come out on the top, realize that you really have a kind of a double identity. Your outer life and your inner life are unfolding side by side. And sometimes when the worst stuff is happening on the screen in Theater 1, The very best stuff is going on in Theater 2 next door. Spiritually, bulletproof people believe that success in their inner lives is possible even when things have gone to hell in a handbasket in their outer lives. They know a powerful secret. The worst pain and suffering they experience in their real world journeys can fuel their greatest progress on their inner journeys. If you can begin to give greater weight to your inner life, you will start to see the suffering and pain you experience in your outer life differently. It will no longer define the way it once did, but you will develop an expanded sense of your own identity. If you take a minute to think about people like physicist Stephen Hawking, or the late actor Christopher Reeves, or Eliza in The Shape of Water, it is easy to see that a person's physical or material life may become extremely limited, and yet, at the same time, the inner life may expand exponentially. Think about someone like Nelson Mandela, whose outer life was completely circumscribed by his 27 years in prison, but whose inner life flourished magnificently. These heroic figures show us what is possible when we understand that our inner lives are even more valuable than our outer one.
All right. Well, it is my honor on Sundays to introduce our guest artists. And today, we have a very special guest. We love when he comes down here to join us, all the way from Los Angeles. And he is not only a multi-instrumentalist and a fantastic singer, he does acting as well, and he's just an all-around amazing human being. And we're just so glad he came down here to be with us today. I wanted to share that he does have an event coming up. It is on Saturday, August 8th at 7 p.m., and it's going to be a live stream through a source called Stage It. So you can get more information about that. He calls his shows High Vibe Music with Ray Davis. And you can get information about that on Ray's social media, which is official Ray Davis, and that's on Facebook and on Instagram. So without further ado, we'd like to welcome, please, to the stage, Ray Davis.
Good morning, Seaside.
Good morning.
How y'all doing? It's not like I can actually hear you, but I can feel you. Okay, this morning, I'm so grateful to be here. Lori sends her love, and I'm so grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be here. I love Seaside. I look forward to coming often, all the time. So we're going to present a couple songs this morning. This first song is a song of transformation. And this is a cat who is responding to the challenges present in his environment and realizing that these challenges are opportunities for growth. This is called The Average Man. And I know some of y'all know this song, so I expect you to be singing along at the end. All right. Let's do this. Yeah. Clap your hand, clap your hand. He always thought he was an average man. Average face and average hands. Average feet set square on the middle tier. Yeah. Satisfied with his mild success, as much as any average man could expect, until the day he was beset by his greatest fear. It all started with a feeling, you know, a feeling so immense that time and space stood still. He said, what if I was born for greatness? What if I am really more than I think I am? What if mediocrity was never in the stars for me? And miracles and wonders was the plan for the average man. Yeah. Said all his life he said he'd find the nerve to stretch and reach beyond the bell curve, but never did, for fear of drawing back an empty hand. Where'd it go? said, what's an average man to do with all of this time and all these things to think through? Maybe I should just stick with what I understand. But he couldn't shake that feeling, no, no. A feeling so intense it about to blow his mind. He said, what if I was born for greatness? What if I am really more than I think I am? What if mediocrity was never in the stars for me? And miracles and wonders was the plan for the average man. Come on, Bobby! Max, come on, Max, come on. Oh, he couldn't shake that feeling, no. Feeling so intense, it finna blow his mind. He said, what if I was born for greatness? What if I am really more than I think I am? What if mediocrity is never in the stars for me? And miracles and wonders was the plan for the average man. Yeah. Make me want to sing na 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 na. Sing it with me, come na 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 na. Yeah, na 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 na. Sing it na 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 na. Na 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 na. Oh yeah 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 yeah.
Yeah! Yes. Ray Davis! Woo! Na, 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 na. Man, I got that one line down. It's one of the few songs I can remember, at least part of it. Anyway, the ending. Oh, man. High vibe muse. Is that a great description? High vibe music. Man, Ray Davis, man, the ordinary man. Mediocrity is not meant for me. I love it. I love it. Or for any of us. Hold on to that spiritual message. It goes deep with music. It takes me a lot more words to get across what Ray and Rebecca sing to us. Just touches our heart and soul. So, but I'll tell you what, we are involved with a wonderful series this summer, Life Lessons from the Movies. And today's movie that I chose for our Life Lessons is The Shape of Water. And it is of the genre magical realism. It is... fabulism is another name for it. And what that is a reality, kind of, it's serious and straight. It's anxious. It's the world. It's real life world with a little magic, a little fabulous expression as a possibility showing up into it. It's a genre the Western mind doesn't usually like because we like it logical. I like to know this is the way it's supposed to be, it's going to be. And so it doesn't usually get acknowledged by the Academy very often, the Academy of Motion Pictures and Arts. But this particular film in 2018 took home 2 Golden Globes, low-budget film made for less than $20 million. And it took home 2 Globes And the Academy acknowledged it in the categories, put nominations in 13 different categories for the best in that category. And it took home 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director, and brought in at the box office, which is the people's appreciation, over $195 million. Pretty good for a genre our culture doesn't really buy into. But obviously, there's something stirring in us that is really looking for that little extra to come through. And what this movie is about is that little extra is called love. You know, The Shape of Water is the name of the movie, but the water is a metaphor for love because it is malleable. It takes on the shape. It fills all containers. It fills a bottle. You know, it takes on the dimensions of the bottle or a plate or a bowl or a shoreline. And love does that. And our philosophy, the science of mind that was brought forward by Ernest Holmes, who said, hey, this is not a revelation to me, guys. It's a compilation of that common thread of truth that has found itself through the great religions and the philosophies. And I got to tell you, love's a real important aspect of it. He wrote the word love in the science of mind so many times I couldn't even count it for you. There's got to be love is mentioned as often as the word God. So I thought I'd start this morning's message talking about Ernest's perspective on love, since that is the water we move in. You know that old story about the fish, swimming around, asking, hey, where's the water? Where's the water? It's like people moving around. Where's the love? Where's God here? It's all around. It takes the shape that we choose to bring in to our world. And so, Ernest Holmes, he writes that love is the central flame of the universe. It's the very fire itself. It's written that God is love and that we are its expressions of kindness and made in the likeness and the image of the eternal being. Love is self-givingness through creation, the impartation of the divine through the human. Love is an essence, it's an atmosphere which defies analysis, as does life itself. It is that which is and cannot be explained. It's common to all people, to all animals, and is evident in the response of plants to those who love them. Love reigns supreme over all. For the essence of love pervades everything. It fires the heart. It stimulates the emotions. It renews the soul and proclaims the spirit. Only love knows love. Love knows only love. Words cannot express its depths or its meaning. That's kind of the fabulism. That is the magical part of the realism. That is what Guillermo del Toro, the writer and the author of this music, is attempting to convey to us through, it's a story that's been told from the beginning of time. It is very simplistic story of the forbidden love and doing what it takes to be together, though there's a lot of twists and turns and undertones and complexities to this simple movie. See, Del Toro, he grew up in Mexico, and he grew up watching those old monster movies on Sunday afternoon, and he said, the monsters, you find out they're good inside, but really the only hope for the monster is to be killed at the end. Whether it's the creature of the Black Lagoon, Phantom of the Opera, the Wolf Man, they all end up dying at the end. And he said that he was inspired by the creature of the Black Lagoon, but he wanted to make it more of like a Beauty of the Beast kind of movie. And so he brought this movie to Hollywood in he started writing it in 2012. And he brought this concept of this movie and the possibility, and he started the movie off like a fairy tale. And so the narrator, who was one of the characters, Giles, in the movie starts off like this. If I spoke about it, if I did, what would I tell you? I wonder, would I tell you about the time? It happened a long time ago. It seems in the last days of the fair princess's reign. Or would I tell you about the place? A small city near the coast, but far from anything else. Or, I don't know, would I tell you about her, the princess without a voice. Or perhaps I would just warn you about the truth of these facts and the tale of love and loss and the monster who tried to destroy it all. Is that a great start to an adult fantasy, as this movie has been described? But I want us to understand up front that the monster here is not the amphibious man or the merman or the fish man, but rather it is the misogynist, antagonist, Colonel Richard Strickland, who is head of this underground, or more like clandestine research government center, and he drags in this fish man and it throws him into a tub, and he defines him as an asset. One word. You want to take any, love out of the equation, you want to take any personification out of the situation, you just label it, asset. One word defines it. That doesn't even begin to define us, but what Del Toro, the writer and director of this movie, wanted us to understand is that this is a movie almost in a sense of what it was like when he first came to here from Mexico, when he was like an outcast, when he was not part of the norm, not part of the commonality. He's still, as an artist, not part of the Hollywood crowd because his genre is a little too artistic, a little too avant-garde, a little too fanciful, if you would. But he wrote this so the characters kind of represent them all. Eliza, who is this mute woman who is the hero of our story, representing the handicapped who really aren't part of the normal, typical abilities of society. He wrote about Eliza's neighbor, a gay man who in the early 60s couldn't come out very comfortably. And her best friend, Octavia Spencer, who plays Zelda, this black woman at work. And these individuals in the 60s were definitely not embraced as equals within the community and within the society. And Del Toro is kind of saying, hey, this is me, guys. When I came into this town, when I came up here, I was not really part of the acceptable group. I was just, I don't know, have you a spot in your life where sometimes you just feel like you're on the outskirts? You're not in the mainstream. You are just going through the motions of going through life. Eliza, the movie starts after this intro I read you, and her life looks like she wakes up to do the night shift, so she wakes up by the alarm clock in the afternoon. She puts on her eggs to boil, to make hard-boiled eggs. She puts it on the 7-minute thermometer, goes into the bathtub and does her bath for 7 minutes, comes on out, makes the sandwiches, goes to her next door neighbor, gives him some food, and gives him a hello and a hi, and off to work in the bus to punch the time clock to do her work, time the grindstone, comes home, goes to bed, wakes up, and does it again. And that's the extent of this woman's life, who is mute, who cannot speak and communicate in the typical kind of way. She is the representation of us all not being able to speak out and to express our magnificence, just the typical ordinary person as we're walking in this life. But things come about in this magical possibilities of life that entice us to be more than our situation, that ask us to step up. She is the cleaning person at this facility with Zelda, and Eliza and Zelda clean up after work and in the late night shift, and they're aware of the asset that's in there, this creature, if you would, this fish man who was pulled from the Amazon by this Colonel Strickland and thrown in this tank, and Eliza, who doesn't communicate like everybody else, but, kind of some hand signals, kind of relating to this amphibious person, this merman. And she had, one of those hard-boiled eggs and said, and came up and he took the egg. And she kind of said, this is how you say it in sign language. And he learned how to say that. And brought eggs the next day, and before long she was playing a little music for him, and she was dancing to the music, and next thing you know, this merman was doing his twirls and swirls in the tank, and they were connecting at a heart level. You know, the shape of water, the shape of love, it knows how to transcend the differences, because at that heart level, it is all the essence, it is all the love, it is all the spirit, it is all the God, it is the water that begins to take the shape. And this individual is not part of the norm, so she was available. See, that's the challenge when our mind is all filled up with the earthly kind of things. I am not available for God. I am not available for the insights. I got my anxieties. I got my work. I have got my position. And all of a sudden, I'm not taking the pause and the busyness of my doingness to be available. She did not fit in to the typical expression. So she became an outcast. But it doesn't mean she was any less than. Actually, it made her more available to love in the presence of God. Well, Strickland, he notices hers, and this is the misogynistic expression, brings her in to his office, kind of, forces himself upon her. She'll have nothing to do it. Zelda said, you got to understand, her. And he said, what, that she's deaf? And she said, no, she's not deaf. She can hear you just fine. She is mute. She doesn't speak. She was found on the river. She was adopted by parents. She had these scars on the sides of her neck. And Strickland figures she was abused by the parents that created those scars. And she was taken in and as an orphan and raised. And so she's got these dynamics in her life. And Strickland kind of like, this lady can't talk back, but it's like a shout out to the Me Too movement for all those individuals who weren't able to speak out because the individual who is the hierarchy, the apex of the hierarchical structure at the workplace is making the moves and making you uncomfortable. And if you say something, that's the end of life as you know it. And so here is this representation. We've got this differently abled person who throughout this movie represents the one who just didn't fit the norm. Not typically able, but doesn't mean that she's disabled. Fully conscious, doesn't speak. That's it. And she saw the humanity of this merman. And when she heard Strickland abusing him with this electrical prod, and just this creature just screaming in agony, and then all of a sudden he heard Strickland scream. Violence begets violence. He's attacking this amphibious man, and he bites his fingers off. It's like, you're going to hurt me. I can't help but to respond in that kind of way. But with Eliza, there was heart, caring, understanding, acceptance, and love. And so Strickland has had it. He's got his anger issues for sure. Some unresolved stuff going on. It may look like he's at the top of the food chain in that workplace, but he's got a general coming down on top of him. And it doesn't matter that he's performed for 13 straight years. He better take care of the situation here at hand. He goes home. His wife's kind of calling the shots at home. I'm telling you the kind of car you need to get here. She probably picked the house too, It's like he may look like that image, the stereotypical 1962 white dominant male right at the end of the McCarthyism of the 40s and the 50s, the post-World War II, that was all about censorship, right? It almost took away our First Amendments. Freedom of speech was on the ropes. The second red infiltration was happening at that time, but it was a Camelot time. Cars were about the future. The wings looked like rocket ships, airplanes, everything in the kitchen had been automated. It was beautiful. It's like the future looked good, and Kennedy was shot. And that was kind of the end of the Camelot. We went into the dark times and the challenges of those early 60s. And it's like this, what's happening here? And so Strickland has had it with this creature, this asset, as he calls it. And he's going to kill it. And our hero, Eliza, hears and goes home to her friend that she watches, musicals with, old-time musicals with Giles, who is not of the most courageous expressions, to say the least. You know, he watches musical and eats the sandwiches and does his art. He has been recently let go from work. He can't sell his contract art. This cute guy down at the diner has recently rejected him. He is just like, he is not the norm within the society. He just wants to not make waves because it's not a good time for a gay man to come out in 1962. He's holding his own, and she comes home and tells him that this aquatic man sees her, understands her, doesn't care that she is lacking, or doesn't see that there are things that are missing, that she is accepted for who she is and what she is. You want to weigh into a relationship, I'm telling you, I see you, I love you just for who you are. It's beautiful. Nothing's missing, You're just wonderful. Well, she melts, and she tells Giles, you know what? We either have to save his life now or let him die. And all of a sudden, one of the biggest turnarounds in the show is Giles gets the chutzpah, if you would, and he gets his van all made up, and together with Zelda, her best friend, Octavia, who just lights up the screen every time she's on it, they go in and they take the asset. They take this out. They find the courage. There is a vision that is greater. Have you ever had a vision that is greater than your fears? Have you ever had a calling that had you move through your trepidation, that turned you from an ordinary person into an extraordinary one? Because there is something inside of you, it's called love, that is calling you into discovering more of what is actually in there. And so they've got this. And so now Strickland is upset. Somebody stole the asset. And he calls in all the people in this clandestine research center. And he's interviewing them. And he gets to Zelda and Eliza. And he can't really communicate with them. They just, they're at different levels. And he says, you two, you wouldn't be smart enough to pull off this heist. Get out of here. I don't even want to talk to you. So that is the chauvinistic perspective, is it doesn't even see another human being as an equal, as an expression of God, but we are all equal. I mean, that is one of the underlying messages here in this show, is that we are all equal. And so they work on taking this beautiful expression of life, who had been considered a god in the Amazon, who is only considered now an asset to be killed and probed and examined to see what makes him work. And so Eliza, along with Giles, takes him down to the docks. They are waiting a couple days for the water to rise to get him into the canals, to get him out to the ocean. And it's pouring rain. You got to have a rainstorm and a good thriller, right? It's coming down the end. The rain is pouring. The canals are swelling. They make it to the end of the dock. They are doing their goodbyes. And up comes Strickland, who'd been chasing after them. And boom, he shoots the merman. And then he shoots Eliza. They're dead on the ground. But he didn't get Giles. Giles is there, whacks him in the head with a board, a 2x4 or something, and down he goes. And it's like, that like ruins really the end of the movie. You kill the heroes here. But all of a sudden, this beautiful, aquatic expression of life begins to light up. He begins to heal himself. Heals himself. Is that a great metaphor? And he gets up and he goes to Giles, who's getting back to going and getting up. And not Giles, he goes to Strickland, the colonel, the chauvinistic, dominating colonel. And the colonel looks at him and says, "You are a god." It's a line for all of us. You are a god. You know how to heal yourself. And with that, this aquatic man just eliminates Giles with a flip of his hand, and down he goes, and he goes back to his beloved who accepted him, who was able to communicate with him because she was not tied up in the human way, the common way of expression. And he takes Liza, with Giles watching, of course, dives into the ocean. The police are coming in, and Zelda is showing up, and they're all watching. And into the water these two go. And they are embraced under the water. And all of a sudden, he takes her head in his hands, and he kisses it. Of course, lighting up with the magic of that. And in that moment, these scars on her neck turn into gills. As if that love allowed her to remember who she really was, her true self. Maybe she wasn't actually born in the human form. We don't know. But what we do know is love transformed into a beautiful moment where life returned and love allowed somebody to remember the true self of their being. And there's that iconic picture that is the poster to the movie of these two, the merman or the amphibious man facing the girl in the blue water. And the movie ends with Giles, whose narration or intro I gave you at the beginning. With a poem, he starts off saying, they asked me, are they still together? He said, I would think so. But I share with you a poem that's hundreds of years old. Unable to perceive your presence, you are all around me. Let me get the skin. Unable to see your presence, I can feel you all around me. I feel you fill my eyes with your love. You humble my heart, for you are everywhere. God bless us. I love you. Ray, take us a little bit deeper.
What you go and do that for, Rev? Oh, man. So this morning, we're going to present a new song. The song is titled "The Least of These," and it is partly based on a passage of Scripture in St. Matthew, the 25th chapter. Just listen to it. Hold on. Just a little less tempo. Sorry for the interruption. Just a little less tempo. I've got something on my mind, and it's high time for my confession. To the world I may seem kind and a success in my profession, but when I search deep in my soul, I find a hole about the size of your oppression. So I wonder, could it be the solution is calling for me? Whatever I've done to the least, whatever I've done to the least, whatever I've done to the least of these, I've done it, I've done it, I've done it to me. Maybe I can see the signs, and maybe I don't want to name it. Maybe I've believed some lies, but it breaks my heart to claim it. And maybe I've been socialized to minimize the pain you feel, then just reframe it. But I wonder, could it be the solution is calling for me? Whatever I've done to the least, whatever I've done to the least, whatever I've done to the least of these, well, I've done it, I've done it, I've done it to me. I just can't take it no more, blaming somebody else for my life, for my life. Oh. Now I am ready to start. I'll change my mind, change my heart. I will open, really open to love, 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 to love, 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 whatever I've done to the least, oh, whatever I've done to the least, whatever I've done to the least of these, oh, whatever I've done to the least, whatever I've done to the least, oh, whatever I've done to the least of these, well, I've done it, I've done it, I've done it to me.
Woo! That is Ray. Oh my. Ray Davis. Good song, great song. Hey, I like that. I mean, I want more. Hey, how do I get more Ray? What when can we watch? Where do we go? What do we click on?
So the next show is going to be on Saturday night, August the 8th at 7 p.m. Pacific on stageit.com.
Stageit.com.
Stageit.com. Just look for High Vibe Music with Ray Davis.
High Vibe Music, Ray Davis on Stageit.com. I'll be there.
All right.
Yeah, I'm home on Saturday night, so that's the way I get my music. Finally. That's good. That's good. All right. Hey, this is the time of our service where we pause and we just listen to our heart and feel that which is beyond words. Feel how Spirit is supporting you during this era. And this is the time in which you get to support Spirit's work. And today, in this moment, it is showing up in your life as Seaside. And Seaside is exemplifying our activity is an expression of consciousness more than ever. Though we got a lot of hands-on things, not hands-on, but we've got a lot of interaction going on. But what I'm saying is listen to your heart and give. Press one of those tabs that are on your screen that says Venmo or donate here or whatever they say. I'm here. All I know is you keep doing it and it's going well. We are able to journey through this time delivering Spirit in Seaside's unique way with wonderful singers coming down from LA. We just love you, Ray, because he loves to sing. So this is the time where I'm going to share a prayer and then we'll share our affirmation of abundance together. And this prayer is just one of grace, gratitude, and appreciation for the most generous of spiritual communities that are part of this collective family, that is part of the heart and the soul and the spirit and the essence that makes up the body of this community. For truly each of us is an integral part of this divine emanation of God's love that is being delivered to humanity through Seaside at this time. For this day and this moment and this message is making a profound difference in more lives than we'll ever come to realize and to recognize. And it is a direct result of each of our participation in supporting this in message to go out in the virtual way and trusting and having faith that sharing light and energy is what they have done from the beginning of storytelling. From the beginning of time, it is the energetic vibration that makes a difference within our being. And I know right now that this message, this day, that we all are entitled to love. And that love looks like caring and accepting, friendships, family. That love is. And I know right now that in that wonderful shape of the divine, that I can't perceive the shape, but I can feel it all around me. It fills my eyes with its love. It humbles my heart, for it's everywhere. That love is everywhere. Feel it and sense it. And allow it to give through you to support this work of Seaside, bringing God to humanity at this time. Feel the richness that comes from saying yes to that. So it is. Amen. And together let us say our affirmation of abundance, which is, Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. Those are the guys from Seaside. Man, I miss, man, that long playing, man. You're just getting going there. Oh, man. Hey, the guys from Seaside, I just love you. We got Ray Davis sitting in with the greatest Sunday morning band in San Diego, and that is Bob blowing the horns. There is Harley safely distancing himself, and, of course, Paul behind those screens, and Max on Paul Lloyd Warner Busendorfer piano. So thank you, guys. Thank you, Rebecca, for your love and your sharing. And behind the cameras today is we have got Edwin and we have got Tim, who's been behind the cameras for probably close to 15 years. In the sound booth is Ed. All these guys are way distanced apart, as well as the editing room. We have Steve Grant in there along with Tom. So, and Sharon, bless you for coming on out and holding consciousness and getting us going. You know, this is a family, and it takes the family coming together, you know, under the appropriate spacing contingencies emergencies, but it takes us continuously coming together to love you guys enough to bring forth this message. It's our joy, but it's because you keep letting us know. So keep letting us know what's going on in your world. We care. We're still together, though we're apart. Know that. We know that. Also, the prayers are going on all the time. I've got a number of them I've been asked to bring into prayer this morning, as well as the prayers. They go, when you send it in, it goes into our prayer request chest. But also know, after the service today, we have practitioners available. Those practitioners are just sitting in their private rooms ready to have a chat and pray with you. So take advantage of that. You just go to our website, you press the Zoom link, and there you go. You're with a practitioner. Or you can Zoom in on your own, and the password is Ernest. So don't hesitate to use that. Share this message with your friends. Let them know that Ray's singing live online. Rebecca this afternoon, 4 o'clock, is going live. There's a lot of activity going on around here at Seaside. We find ways to have fun and learn together. And with that said, I want to pray. And so it's with a deep sense of well-being. I remember that closing poem. Though I'm unable to perceive you, I feel your presence all around you. Though I am unable to perceive the shape of you, I feel you all around me. You fill my eyes with your love. My heart is humbled, for you are everywhere. Knowing that God is everywhere, that love is everywhere. Wherever I may look, I can feel that presence. It may not take the shape in which I am looking for, but I can feel that I am never alone. That presence fills my awareness. It fills my eyes with its love, the light, with the glory, with the presence, the good, the beauty, the abundance, the very life essence itself. For in the beginning was this essence, was this love, was this unformed, shapeless substance upon which it moved and began to take on the shape of the consciousness which cast it, which is God made manifest. Spirit taking form, this each and every one of us. Spirit taking form, you got it, as each and every one of us. We are all equal in that, in our unique, diverse expressions of the divine. We each bring our unique gifts. We love that something special. And in this, recognize that unique expression that moves through all of God's expressions, all of life's expressions. The formless taking form, becoming part of my dance and dynamic in life. I let go of my biases and open up to the divine gifts that are at hand in this now moment. We are living in a God moment, a God time. We are standing on holy ground. And what is unfolding is Spirit unfolding and taking us to higher ground. For I see as God sees, because the presence fills my eyes with its love. I may not have the ability to perceive the shape, but I can feel it. I sense it. It may be ineffable, but it is real. It is through the artistic expression, the fabulism. It is opening the heart. It is seeing, looking into another's eyes, trusting the difference. It's part of the expansive expression that God is. And with this comes a richness, comes a blessing, comes a grace, comes a delight in dancing in the unknown, following the music and trusting the moment, moving through the soul, the body, finding a skip in the step, knowing that no matter where I am, God is. I can feel it all around me. For the shape of water fills that space. And so love returns love. Caring returns caring. And so I know right now that Seaside continues to be a caring, loving, accepting, welcoming community. Wherever we may be on our spiritual path, I know that every prayer request that has been brought forth to our prayer request chest is now fulfilled. There's not judgment saying, hey, I can use this. Tweak. It's part of the human experience. And so in this reaching out, we find the shape of love taking our hand and leading us to that higher ground. And for Jennifer Diallo, one of our practitioners' dad, who has COVID-19 with the underlying condition of COPD, being transferred into the hospital at this time. I know right now that Spirit goes with him, surrounding him, bringing the strength and the courage for that perfect healing to take place in body, mind, and soul. Letting go of the shape I feel it has to be, but embracing the love, the shape of love, taking this situation to its new and greater expression of life. And Jennifer and her family is surrounded with a deeper understanding. For a beloved couple in this church, Michelle and Raul. Michelle, young wife, on the operating table last week, made her transition. She moves on, I know, with the ease and the grace, free to express herself on the wonderful currents of eternality. But Raul is surrounded by the family and the friends and the divine God embrace at this time. And for Valerie Carlson, whose mom made her transition a few days ago, the mom moves on with a wonderful expression of the immortality. One does not die to become immortal. We are immortal now. And so Anna Lee moves on with that deep sense of her self-expression, free from the constraints of the physical form as her body has aged. And Valerie is surrounded by our family's love and caring. And for one of the matriarchs of my neighborhood that I grew up with, made her transition this week, Marianne Lynch, my goodness, a mom, lived next door, hung out there. I know right now that she goes to prepare a place, that she moves on because it is time, it is appropriate, and her girls that are left behind, that they are surrounded with the love, Katie and Elizabeth, that they feel a deep peace that passes any kind of logical understanding, but there is a releasing and a surrendering and allowing mom to move forward. And for our practitioner, Victoria Woods, her sister just made her transition, Diane Wood. That Diane is surrounded in that divine embrace, sent forth by the love of her family, able to be that divine expression and passionate essence that twinkled the eyes, twinkles the stars even brighter in the celestial realm, for she is free to express herself in a new kind of way. And for Seaside's administrator, assistant to the minister, Linda Amerson, who's been here for the last 23 years, her best and dearest friend since school days, made her transition on Thursday. You know that Melanie is lighter, freer, freed from a body that had been impacted and did not operate in this realm with the ease and the grace. That was out of balance to the point that rebalancing was freeing the soul to create again. For our awareness creates a vehicle to operate on this plane and this vibration. By all means, it will create whatever vehicle is necessary to move about wherever that awareness or consciousness is next. That is part of nature. It provides coming and it provides going. One is as natural as the other. And so for Callie, my beloved wife, whose uncle made his transition on Friday, Tom's free, rejoins his beloved wife on the other side. That Uncle Tom is able to once again be that joyous expression of spirit that he is. Once again, freed from the confines of a convalescent home and a memory care to once again being active and expressive and creative. For it is the natural process of life to grow, to expand, to move on. And so I know right now that we stand on the wonderful wisdom of Spirit here and now. And that Spirit takes the shape that is appropriate and necessary in our life. For love, that shape is multidimensional. It is not contained by a bottle or a shoreline, but it is multidimensional in its expression. That love that brought us together here, by all means, is the same essence and energy that transcends time and space. And that love takes on the shape that is appropriate for that which is needed when we are willing to open up and be available to the divine download that brings ever greater good, that brings the abundance, brings the joy, brings a sense of peace, well-being, and a deep security that all is well. I can walk through the valley of the shadow of death and fear no evil. I can walk through the times of viruses and protests and know that the shape of water of God is ever available to take on that shape of the greater yet to be that is knocking at the door, seeking to express itself. And as we open up the space and mind and body, it flows in, for it is here now. It is my awareness that is aligning with that something that is greater than where I am. And I know right now that is the shape that is taking place in my life. And so I live with the ease and the grace and the delight of God manifesting the appropriate ways in my life here and now. And this I am grateful for. I am thankful that it is happening now in the world in which I walk. And I continue to expand my view and see more and more of God's world, the Garden of Eden here and now. So I let go to this vision. I let go to God, since God's got it all anyway. I let go of my will and my desire and allow thy will to be my will and its expression of the greater good. For the shape I may not perceive, but I can feel it always. It fills my eyes with its love. It humbles my heart, for it is everywhere. So right where I am, God is. I let go to that. I trust that. I live that. And I experience the wonderful shape of the divine as my life now. And so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand.
So now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've gotta let it go. And this is what you got to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. So no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. So I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. So no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Wherever you want to sing it with us. Release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. Come on. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. So no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Yeah. All right. Woo. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Hey, before our affirmation, I just want to say our movie for next week is The Greatest Showman. So Yeah, that should be a good one, right? Another best picture of the year. Yeah. All right, but right now, my love dissolves all my boundaries. Together, my love dissolves all my boundaries. Touch your heart and say it again. My love dissolves all my boundaries. Okay, think of something. Make it real for yourself, and let's say it one last time. My love dissolves all my boundaries. I love you. Thank you. Band, take it away.